So I was thinking about sort of how, in short, to describe spirituality, or sort of a short bit of advice for how to develop oneself spiritually. Um, I would, in my opinion, if you develop yourself magically and energetically, that'll sort of uh, develop you spiritually by default. Um, I think that ultimately, I think through like spiritual contemplation and stuff, um, you can develop yourself spiritually, or some people sort of do that, but I think it's a very slow way. I think it's sort of easier to experiment with magic and do various things like that. Um, Build up your energy body, and probably contemplation is doing that anyways, but magic, it's just more direct. And a lot of magic, you find you can do more and more sort of intrinsic things maybe, and get the same benefits with less effort or less thought. So I've talked about that. I think 3 meditations, prana meditation, or prana, maybe more like exercises, like doing prana exercises, doing Karnataka, looking at like one spot until it sort of vibrates, and especially building up focus, and just sitting in silence and silencing your thoughts. These 3 practices, I think, really develop you magically and maybe even a little bit spiritually. They're considered spiritual practices. I would beg to differ and say they're more like in the realm of mind and ether. But ether sort of becomes this bridge to spirit. But spirit's actually more obtuse than that. And the reason I'm making this is because I've made a few videos where I talk about sort of what's intrinsic, and I make some attempt to obscure these things. And the reason why I'm doing that is because these things are sort of, you can't really reach them till you reach them. In a way, you don't know till you're there. You don't know till you do it, type of thing. And I think a lot of people think that they can like logic their way there or read their way there, and maybe there's some secret sauce in that I don't know about, but I seriously doubt it. But yeah, doing these 3 practices, I think, is really a good maybe beginner's curriculum to start to get into this stuff, because even ceremonial magic, I swear by it, but well, shouldn't say it that way. I would really encourage people to try it out, do the LBRP for a period of time, go on and do the other rituals like the Golden Dawn curriculum. I'd really encourage people to do that sort of thing, but it'll be much more powerful if you can kind of get the benefits of doing Karnataka, prana, or I think prana and kriya are pretty similar, at least what I've learned about from looking up on Paramahansa Yogananda, or Yogananda Paramahansa. I forget sometimes which way it goes. It's Yogananda Paramahansa, I'm pretty sure. But so, and then the silence meditation is probably actually the most difficult, because the mind, its job is sort of to calculate things and think, and it's just sort of the mind is to receive thoughts, to receive information from the environment, from spirits, from whatever, from your spirit guides. And by silencing the mind, you will eventually gain the power to discern and discriminate, to discern the spirits and discriminate between them, that sort of thing. That's really helpful, because if you can know which thoughts, because in your mind different thoughts are charged differently. That's not simply emotional. It's sort of the tag of the spirit that sent it into your mind, or the entity that's put it into your mind. Whether you're picking up something from another person, from a disembodied spirit, whatever. Whether it's the person next to you or a person on the other side of the world. So that's really powerful. And if you can control that sort of thing, you can get a lot of guidance, but also you can know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you can sort of understand everything else. And yeah, it's the beginning, really. And it forms a new kind of consciousness, because you know yourself. So you're not distracted and constantly, you're not constantly chasing different shinies as far as different thoughts. So you can know yourself in that way. Especially people that have some spiritual inclination, spirits will really all try and grab their attention. I don't think it's malicious. I think it's just there's a lot of spirits with a lot of different ideas about things, and they really want your attention. So, but yeah, like I said, it's not just that. You get a new you enter a different mode of consciousness, and that's kind of hard to describe, but you'll just do it automatically. Karnataka, I feel like almost adds a lot of energy and power into whatever you're doing, because now you're able to focus more. And you can sort of have the choice to focus or not focus. Whereas typically, I guess anyone can choose to focus, but it's not really that simple, and the focus isn't that powerful. Karnataka can really, it's a new level of focus, and that has some effect on your mental energies and things like that. But especially when it comes to magic, you can really